For 156 days, no one at Miramar Animal Shelter could get the 150-pound black Cane Corso in Kennel 8 to respond to anything. They called him dangerous. He was 150 pounds of solid muscle with a blocky black head and pale amber eyes. And when the staff clapped, called his name, or waved treats, he just scared through them. Unresponsive, the file said, after 4 different handlers gave up. Not safe for adoption. The staff at Miramar had not given up on Caesar out of laziness. They'd brought in their most experienced handler, and Caesar looked straight past her for 40 minutes and then turned to face the wall. A dog that shut down that completely in a shelter that was always full was on a very short clock. By his 156th day, a date had been written on a form in the office, and everyone there had quietly made peace with the fact that the huge black dog in Kennel 8 was almost out of time. And so the huge black dog they called Caesar sat in Kennel 8 for 156 days, and 30 different people looked at him and decided he was exactly the monster his breed and his size made him look like. Then one Saturday, a 6-year-old girl who had never spoken a word in her life stood at his gate and lifted her small hands into the air. A volunteer standing 5 feet away happened to be holding her phone. What that camera caught in the next 90 seconds has now been seen more than 40 million times, and it changed everything. Lily Navarro was 6 years old, and she had never said a single word out loud in her life. She had been born unable to speak, and she talked with her hands instead, in sign, fast and bright with her mother and her older brother, and almost no one else. Around strangers, in loud places, even her hands went quiet, and a busy shelter lobby on a Saturday afternoon was about as loud a place as there was. Lily was used to being the quiet one, the child adults did not quite know how to talk to. At 6, she had already learned to read the flicker in a stranger's face when they realized she could not answer out loud. She had a whole rich world inside her, and only 3 or 4 people she could share it with. And she had learned, very young, what it feels like to be surrounded by people and still not be heard. Her mother, Megan, had brought her to Miramar only to look. Lily had been asking for a dog for a year, and Megan, a single mom of 2 who worked long hours, had finally agreed to at least walk through. She was picturing something small, something safe. She was not picturing the biggest, blackest, most intimidating dog in the building. But Lily walked the row, holding her mother's hand, past the beagles and the terriers and the retriever mixes, and she stopped, completely on her own, in front of Kennel 8, in front of 150 pounds of supposedly dangerous dog. She did not seem to see a monster. Where 30 adults had seen 150 pounds of danger, Lily saw a big, sad dog lying alone with his back to everyone. And something in her, some 6-year-old certainty the grown-ups had all missed, told her he needed her to say hello. Megan's stomach dropped. She reached for her daughter's shoulder to steer her away the way she had 100 times before. And that was the exact moment Lily let go of her hand, stepped up to the wire, and started to sign. "Hello, big dog. Are you there?" And Caesar, who had not reacted to a human being in 156 days, lifted his enormous head off the floor. I know you're still watching but haven't subscribed yet, and after a dog like Caesar, that stings a little. Tap subscribe. Everyone called this one a monster, and subscribing is how the world finds out what he really was. What the volunteer's camera caught next is the part that has made grown adults cry in the comments 40 million times over. Caesar rose from his corner, crossed his kennel in 3 slow steps, and pressed himself against the gate, right where Lily's hands were, his amber eyes locked on her fingers like they were the only thing in the world. Lily signed sit, and the 150-pound dog that 4 handlers had written off as unresponsive sat, immediately, completely, his eyes never leaving her hands. She signed lie down, and Caesar lay down. She signed a small shape for paw, and 150 pounds of so-called dangerous dog lifted one enormous black foot and set it flat against the wire, right against her palm. The volunteer filming it forgot to breathe. A 6-year-old who had never spoken a word was having an entire conversation with a dog no adult in that building had been able to reach, and the camera caught every second of it. The volunteer, a college student named Priya, said afterward her hands had been shaking so hard she was amazed the video was not a blur. She had watched that exact dog ignore every person who ever stopped at his gate, and now he was leaning into a 6-year-old's hands like she was the answer to a question he had been asking for half a year. Megan could not explain it either. She only knew her daughter, who went silent around strangers, was kneeling on that floor completely at ease, talking with her hands to a dog everyone had warned her about. That night, the volunteer posted the 90-second clip online, and by the next morning, it had 2 million views. By the end of the week, it had passed 40 million. The comments filled with people asking the same question: how does a shelter dog nobody could reach understand a little girl's sign language? And 3 days after the video went up, a man 400 miles away in San Francisco saw it. And finally, someone had the answer. The video did what those videos do. It jumped from one account to the next, and the comment sections filled with hundreds of thousands of people crying over a story they had no part in. And somewhere in those tens of millions of views, the one person who could explain it all was scrolling his phone late one night, 400 miles away. His name was Marcus. He was 29 years old and he was deaf. He watched that video of a black Cane Corso answering a little girl's hands and recognized his own dog. Marcus had raised Caesar from an 8-week-old puppy entirely in sign. For 5 years, Caesar had been his closest companion, taught with Marcus's hands to sit and stay and come, but also to fetch the phone when it lit up and nudge him when someone knocked. A whole life built in silence between a deaf man and his dog. And then Marcus had lost his apartment, and the only place he could find that would take him would not take a 150-pound dog of a banned breed, and he had made the hardest decision of his life and surrendered Caesar to a shelter, praying someone would understand him. It had been the worst day of Marcus's life. He had signed goodbye to Caesar through the bars with tears running down his face, and the staff, who could not sign, had not understood a word of it. He had checked the shelter's website for months, slowly losing hope that anyone would ever see past the word dangerous. For 156 days, no one had. Caesar had gone from a home made entirely of hands to a place full of shouting voices and reaching arms. And the dog everyone called dangerous had simply stopped answering a language no one there was speaking. Until a 6-year-old girl walked up to his gate and spoke it. When Megan learned the whole story, she did not hesitate. The same dog the shelter had called dangerous, the same 30 people had said was a monster, the same 150-pound Cane Corso that 4 handlers had given up on, went home 2 days later with a little girl who had loved him from the first second, because she was the only one who had ever spoken to him. And Megan did one more thing. She found Marcus online, and she sent him a video of his own. Lily, in her living room, signing to Caesar, and Caesar answering, safe and loved and home. Marcus wrote back that he had not stopped crying, that giving that dog up had broken something in him, and that knowing Caesar had found a child who spoke his language had begun, finally, to put it back. The first time Marcus made the 400-mile drive to San Diego, Caesar heard him in the yard before he came through the gate, and the reunion, filmed on Megan's phone, became its own small viral moment. Caesar would stay where he was thriving, with Lily, and Marcus would always be welcome, the man who taught that dog the language that saved him. He drives down to visit when he can, and Caesar, who spent 156 days waiting for a single pair of hands, now has 2 sets that speak to him. In that house, Caesar became Lily's voice. He goes everywhere she goes. When she signs across the room, his huge head moves with her hands. And when she wakes from a bad dream at night, crying the silent way she has cried her whole life, Caesar is already there, having felt her stir before anyone could hear. And now at night, the little girl who could never once call out into the dark falls asleep with one hand resting on the enormous black head of a dog who is always listening for her. Today, that 90-second video has more than 60 million views, and the top comment with over 200,000 likes simply reads, "He was never dangerous. He was just waiting to be understood." And the 30 people who swore he was a monster have all gone very quiet, because here is the simple truth the whole internet learned that week. A dog who does not answer is not always broken and not always dangerous. Sometimes he is only speaking a language no one around him has bothered to learn, waiting more patiently than we deserve for the one person who finally will. Lily was that person for Caesar, and Caesar became the voice she had never had. If you are thinking about adopting a dog, especially a big one, especially one the shelter has stamped dangerous or unresponsive or too far gone, please do not believe the label before you have really tried to reach him. The dog sitting silent at the back of the kennel, the one everyone has written off, is so often not a monster at all, only a soul waiting for someone who understands. Because Lily did not really rescue Caesar from that shelter. If you ask her mother, she will tell you that a 150-pound dog the whole world called dangerous spent 156 days waiting for someone who spoke his language, and a 6-year-old girl who had never had a voice of her own gave him one and got one back. So let me ask you honestly, would you have looked twice at a 150-pound black Cane Corso that 30 people swore was a dangerous monster? Or would you have walked your child right past Kennel 8 like everyone else? Tell me in the comments. And if a rescue dog ever understood someone you love when no one else could, say their name below so the world remembers what these dogs are really worth.